interesting career that for the taxi, that they have the agent driver. So which means that if you drive a car to the pub area and then you drink a few pints and then when you come out, you pay to the agent driver to drive your car back.
Okay.
Back home. That's I've encountered that in Korea about 1 or 2 years ago in one of the pub area. Yeah, the police used the laser gun to check the people the temperature that they are suspect of the drink driving, and also they have agent driver advertisement on the side of the road. So I think Hong Kong has to learn more, and I think I always suggest that should be heavy penalties for drink driving, because the driver can control himself not to drink beforehand, but the reckless driving is different thing. Sometimes maybe accident, but drinking is, you can control, you don't drink to drive.
I think another problem is a lot of people, when they drink, they think they'll only have one drink, but the problem is once you've had one drink, a lot of people lose their touch, and that's why I think it might be a good idea to introduce a complete ban on all drinking, because at the moment I think in the law you can actually have one drink, can't you, and still be under the limit. But am I right in saying in Japan that you can actually, you're not even allowed one
0%?
One drink? Is there 0%?
0%.
And that seems sensible to me, because you can see how a lot of people, once they've had one drink, they can
get away from it.
They lose touch with what they're doing, and one drink leads to another, I think, and that's the danger of that.
One thing that the Hong Kong situation is different from Japan is we have mainland China at the back, and then the drivers, many of the drivers are cross-border drivers, and then it's very difficult to control them having some drinks before they drive back. Okay. Now, so this is not to say that we condone this kind of driving. That's why we say maybe border checkpoints, maybe we need to have some compulsory checking for the drivers' alcohol level too, right? So that to ensure that they are safe for driving, especially heavy trucks. So that's why now this kind of incident actually from government figures, the drink driving tendency actually decreased a bit. So the problem now is because of some particularly tragic case, which aroused the public, right? Reaction, backlash against this. So maybe that kind of thing can really help control the drink driving incident, and especially the tragic incident, to a minimum. Right?
Yeah, I mean, this incident, you can see it did arouse some pretty strong emotions from the public and so on, and I can see why the Commissioner of Police has said there needs to be, some quite careful thought and discussion, so there's kind of consensus amongst the community, and why you have to think about it quite carefully, I think, in terms of the changing the law, because obviously, some people, there has been some calls for people that people should be sent to prison for life for that, and that might be going too far, basically, because obviously there is a distinction between pulling out a gun and knowingly,
intentional murder,
there is a slight difference, and so I think you have to be a bit careful about going too far. But saying that, I can remember when I learnt to drive, the first thing that my driving instructor said to me, she said, now listen, Mr. Pearce, this car that you're about to start driving, it has the potential to be as lethal as a shotgun. And that is absolutely true. It's got the potential to kill a lot of people, as in this incident, killing 5 people, and so on.
So I think it is a kind of educational problem, is it? They should educate more.
Well,
and
usually
in a way that, for example, like I don't know about the speeding problem in the UK, but you see, you can see that in UK you got the very good Formula 1 driver, and also for the normal car racing, they are pretty good standard. But I think they have they have ability that they don't do the speed. They don't speeding on the highway.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, to bring up what you said, education. I think that is crucial. Actually, you can increase the laws, you can double the laws, but ultimately, I think education. Is the big thing which will actually stop people and make them realise actually what they're doing, and make them think. What they're doing is not good. Basically, it's not good for them. It's not good for society, and it's not worth risking. When you can, instead of drinking, you can get a taxi or whatever. And ultimately, education is important.
But you're talking about education. This is not America that everybody has to drive. So you've got to talk about that. Education for all drivers, right? Some compulsory driving lessons for them. This already been instituted in place for those who committed drink driving, right? But probably if we don't feel enough, and we will introduce it for all drivers, right? From time to time, that means after so many years, you have to attend again about a certain lesson or 2 or 3 lessons on drink driving in order to really educate them about the
or maybe we should think like the Japanese, right? All the passengers should also learn about it.
Yes, this is good.
And then teach
interesting idea.
This is
warn
good,
the driver, don't drive.
You know, after this, actually 1 or 2 days ago, we have another tragic incident with a group of young girls, right? Who are innocent passengers to a car, and then they are all got killed because of the driver probably has been drugged, right? Has taken some drug. Now this is again another problem, right? Yes.
I mean, another thing I noticed with this incident about the chief executive, you see, Donald Tsang. It's interesting that he actually visited the scene. I mean, that's an interesting thing because I've noticed that he's done that more recently. Yeah. Well, I mean, personally, I think it is a good thing actually what he did. I noticed he started doing it. It was after that case of the woman who jumped off off her balcony with the 2 children. He was criticised actually for not going to the scene actually. But I've noticed since then there's been quite a few other cases where he has gone to the scene. There was about a month or 2 back in Mongkok where he also visited the scene
about the corrosive liquid incident.
And it's interesting what he's doing actually in terms of politically, because obviously I mean I respect him for it, because it's risky for him to be seen a sort of a bad news story, if you like, but obviously
it shows that he cares. That is important.
Obviously he did face a bit of heavy pressure, I think, from the victims' families. But to be honest, I think that should do him good. I think somebody to actually face some real people.
Got on his knees.
Is that right?
Yeah, in front of him. And shouting, "Give my son back."
That was on the news, was it?
On the news, on TV. And then he was quite embarrassed. He was really quite embarrassed for it, because you are shouting that you want to get do a good job.
I mean, it's good for him to meet some real people though. For a change, and
not only PR.
Now, when you look at this drink driving problem, one of the sensitivity you have to take notice is that many of our drivers are wealthy people. So the government itself is reluctant to change this kind of law. Right? It's only from the public pressure that the government will react, and then will do something, right? At least to tighten up the law to a more we say just standard, right? More stringent standard. That should do the job. And then the other thing is whether the government is really going to issue some educational program and also introduce some like the Japanese law in order to forbid the passengers from sitting in this kind of car. In Chinese, actually, it's usual Chinese custom when a car owner invite you as a friend, invite you to sit beside him, you feel you cannot refuse.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if this kind of Japanese law is introduced, it's good, because you have a legitimate reason. I don't sit on your car because you have drunk.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting idea.
It's a cultural thing. Yeah, people afraid to lose face. And
yeah.